must be protected by three expedient things, three significant things for an altar to be protected. Let's say you have raised your altar, you must protect that altar. But there are three things which are very significant that must protect that altar. As I gave last week part 1. In English, if you have got, just ask for a mic. If three things, and those things I mentioned them on my synopsis when I was giving definitions. That's when I mentioned those things on my prelude. That's why I mentioned those things. So I was not rushing, so you could not miss those things. Three things. All right, for the sake of our time, I said whenever you erect an altar against an altar that was erected against you, number one, there must be a priest who protects that altar, and that priest is you. So which means if in your family there's an altar of poverty, then you discover it, then you erect an altar against that altar, it must have a priest who works and functions there 24/7. You may be going to work, you may be going to school, but you must make sure that each and every time your altar is protected. That's the first thing. Then number two, I said every altar should have a sacrifice. Every altar should have a sacrifice. What triggers the power of an altar is a sacrifice. Without any sacrifice, an altar is just a monument. If maybe you pay 20,000 rands to build your altar anyway, if you don't guard that altar of yours, the devil will always come to attack you. If you erect again an altar, there must be a sacrifice upon that altar. That's why the Bible clearly says, if you look at David, he did things that were against God's will. He took census. After taking census, God came to David and he said that there are three options that I'm going to give you. Either 3.5 years of famine, or 6 months in the wilderness, but your enemies must be after you every day, or 3 days of a demonic plague. Then David said, okay, I need 3 days of that plague. So God had to send an angel that had to kill all the Israelites. The same angel that was assigned in the book of Exodus was assigned in the time of David. For 3 days, Israel died. Then God the prophet came to David and said to David, because today is the 3rd day, I want you to go to Onan's threshing floor. Because the angel that has been killing people is stationed there. Go there, rush right now, erect an altar. Then when he went to Onan's threshing floor, Onan seeing David, he respected David and said to a man of God, I'm going to give you my threshing floor for free. I'll give you livestock. I'll give you flour. And David said, I ain't going to take it for free. I want to sacrifice so that this thing may be lifted up. Because if David had taken it for free, it means there was no sacrifice. So whatever altar that was going to create there, it was not going to trigger the mercy of God. So he said, I'm going to pay you the amount of your threshing floor. Biblically, a threshing floor is not just a smooth rock. A threshing floor can be 40 hectares of land. So David paid for that. So I'm just trying to put emphasis on a sacrifice, that every altar should have a sacrifice. And that sacrifice should be a sacrifice with consistency. Which means if you're a priest to your altar, you must study the person that is controlling an altar in your family, a demonic altar. Then the same consistency of that demonic priest is the same consistency that you must pledge on your altar. Giving an example, let's use money. If a demonic priest is paying 5 rand every month on that satanic altar, so that in your family you may continue to suffer anti-marriage, you must make sure that the same consistency. Don't pay 5 rand January, then you wait for the altar to be lifted. Because this demonic priest is always making sacrifices. So your altar now will be submerged and subdued and conquered by this.